Hi guys, this is the application which you are seeing on the screen right now. जैसा कि हमने बोला था आपको कि we'll be creating a Notion. So front end, back end, full stack application है ये Notion में, and we'll be coding the back end for this today. So Asmi, Vatsal, Vinay, and Atharva, I hope you guys are excited. So Hussein, please get that going. Guys, अगर ऐप अच्छा लगे तो चैट में कुछ तो लिख देना कि अच्छा है, कैसा लगा आपको. So this Notion is especially famous for putting some false claims. So just hang around. हुआ रहेगा तो please can we go ahead? Again, people are waiting. So yes, guys, this is the proper functionality we have incorporated. You can add page, you can update a page, you can delete a page, and in front end we are using Material UI, and back end will be looking at it today. Okay, so if we don't stop, guys, then this guy will continue writing this. So I think you have got a brief idea of what we'll be making throughout. So I think we are good to go. Perfect. So if you can see the sign in with Google and stuff, buttons and all, you might remember the last to last Sunday, we studied a package, Firebase starter package that had this all built in, and I also taught you how to connect to particular Firebase backend, Firebase application. So yep, exactly. So this is the template. Please, he's asking to star the template, so please go ahead and do it, I guess. Okay, so guys, just let me know, four of you, are you going to follow along so that I will decide my pace accordingly. Please, if you guys are active, put that in chat. You can write if you guys are going to follow along. If not, it's okay if you're not following along. So,
Yes, I'm following.
okay, that's great. Okay, so I hope you guys will follow along, and let's begin. Works. Hussein, if you stop sharing your screen, exactly. Enough of React Native and Flutter. Let's get back to Node.js. Okay. So I'll be creating, like you can see, the reason I'm going, can you guys see my screen? Or
Yes, sir.
Yep.
yeah, so I am creating a new folder. So मैं यहाँ से start कर रहा हूँ ताकि तुम लोग भी यहीं से start करो मेरे साथ, ताकि कुछ थोड़ा भी doubt ना रहे कैसे start करना. So I will name it Notion Live, and I will open that in Visual Studio Code. ये नहीं दिखना था पर दिख गया है, ठीक है. Also, guys, I'm sharing a link with you. Link for this resource of like from the link of the complete application, GitHub link of the complete application. Okay, so on Discord, I'm putting it. Okay, I have put the link on Discord. Perfect. Okay, guys. So I hope you can see my VS Code. So let's begin. This was basic file creation and stuff. Okay, fine. So in this Notion main parent folder, we'll be creating a folder named backend. We'll create another folder named frontend. अच्छा इसमें ही बन गया. That was not intended. इधर चाहिए. Fine. I'll close this. Okay, so as of today, we'll be just focusing on backend. हम node में we are writing our entire code, so we'll be just focusing on our backend. So in backend, as you guys studied yesterday, Hussein taught you guys ki npm init we have to do. Clear the screen. What is my present directory? Okay. cd backend. Clear. The first and the foremost thing I have to do is npm init -y. So this will create a basic. I think yeah, this will create a basic package.json for me, and I will be creating a server.js file order to write the code. Right. Now there are some packages which I require, such as Express. I require Express on is the sort of, as I explained yesterday, it's a sort of a utility which we use over the top of Node.js. So I need Express. Okay, what I need NodeMon just so that I don't have to restart my server again and again on whatever changes I do. So npm I express and npm I node. Okay. So I think as of now I only remember these two things. By the time this is happening, okay, so this is done. All the folders and all are created. So we'll go in server.js. Now there is some code which was already explained to you yesterday. So I don't think there is any point in wasting any time over there. So what I'll do, I will straight away write the code. I will import Express from Express. I will create an instance of Express and put that in only 2s. That's it. And this app.listen was also explained. The first parameter being simply copied from here. Perfect. So it was on 8000 ports. And we also pass the function so that when it listens, what is it supposed to do as a callback? So it is supposed to tell us that server is running. Okay. So this was the stuff covered yesterday. This is all the basic stuff that was covered yesterday. Perfect. Okay, so fine. We've initiated the app express and app.listen 8000. We are listening in that on port this. So clear it out. Yeah, I'm in backend. Okay, so I forgot to mention the type. This is explained yesterday that the reason I am putting the type is module, and now you can see as I've fixed it. Like restart nahi karna pada mujhe server. That was done by all by itself, and I can see the server is running. Okay, so server.js. Now, what I want you to do is on your machines, you can either see my screen or you can open the link which I have sent you on GitHub. So if you open that link over there,
Actually showing an error upon opening it.
okay.
अब एक बार रिफ्रेश कर लेना. वो मैंने अभी किया था 2 मिनट पहले.
Okay. अच्छा हाँ वो पहले प्राइवेट था. Right.
हाँ हुआ ओपन.
ओके फाइन. नहीं हो रहा है तो आप इधर भी देख सकते हो. इधर पे मैं ओपन करता हूँ. So इधर से हमें like अभी इतना कुछ extra नहीं करना है, but I just want you to go through the folder structure in this. What all we have done. So you can see a config folder, you can see a controllers folder, middleware, models, nodes and stuff. So I just want to give you a basic idea of how we'll be storing. Just a minute. Apologize. Facing a little bit cold today. So yeah, so you can see this is our main server.js file, जिसमें we are listening to this and all. Ignore all of this as of now. We don't require this, but we have kept server.listen. ये अपना main file है. तो इसमें जैसा कि कल आपने देखा था, we create a routes folder, and routes में we keep all the routes which we require, and then from here we update to the controller. Controller का part was not covered yesterday, which I'll be covering today. All right, so now as you know the structure, let's break our application into pieces. अगर इधर भी आप देखें तो let's break into pieces. If I open config, there is some Firebase configuration which you can see. This is some basic Firebase configuration which you can see. इसके लिए we will create a, like as you know we are using Firebase backend as a service, Firebase to store everything like handle authentication, put all the documents in the Firebase. So उसके लिए भी ये हम use करें तो we will create a new application, and through that application I will teach you कि Firebase कैसा connect करना है. Fine. So let's go back to the code. Server is running. अभी तक तो MongoDB वगैरह कुछ हमने connect नहीं किया. I will create a new folder over here. We will follow the exact same structure कि कैसे करना है. तो उसके लिए I will go to Firebase and create a completely new application. So यहाँ पे I would wait for a minute for you to open this website if you are following along side by side. अब तक तो सिर्फ ये इधर कोड राइटिंग था, पर अभी हम Firebase का ये करने वाले हैं. This is a little, थोड़ा सा फोकस करना पड़ेगा आपको इधर. So let me know in Discord अगर आपने लिंक खोला है. So put anything जो भी फॉलो कर रहे हो along. वत्सल विनय अगर आपने ओपन किया है तो.
यस सर, थम्स अप आ गया.
अच्छा मैंने टीम्स नहीं देखा. ओपन. ओके. हुसैन और तन्वी था. थम्स अप पे बताया करो. थम्स अप आई एम नॉट हैविंग अ लुक एट.
यस सर.
ओके सर.
सो ओवर हियर ये पहले के एप्स इग्नोर कीजिए सब. we'll creating a new application. वेब एप्लीकेशन हम बना रहे हैं, राइट, मंच स्टैक में. सो फॉर यू हैव टू क्रिएट अ न्यू प्रोजेक्ट और उसमें आपका ऐप बनेगा. सो आई थिंक नया प्रोजेक्ट बनाना लास्ट टाइम सिखाया था. सो इधर आई एम वेटिंग फॉर यू गाइस इधर तक आने के लिए. सो once you are here then let me know कि आप इधर हो करके. यही थोड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोसेस है. इसके बाद we'll get on code सीधा. I think हो चुका रहेगा. Done. Perfect. Okay, so I am also naming this Notion live. फिलहाल के लिए we don't need hosting and stuff. Okay, so we have this information. तो फिलहाल के लिए this is not what we need. This is for the front end. So now as I am setting the entire application, इधर ही मैं आपको एक थोड़ा सा पॉइंट बता देता हूँ टोकन का. So there is a token thing, JWT. If you have ever come across JSON web tokens, so token is a hashed, you can call it a hashed key, जो backend keeps a note of to check कि वही यूजर है, वही रजिस्टर कर रहा है, उसका सेशन चल रहा है. तो उसके लिए there is a key that we require. तो उसके लिए we have to take that key from the front end, क्योंकि जब front end से हम यूजर को लॉग इन करते हैं, like let's suppose front end से लास्ट टाइम हमने देखा था Firebase with Google. तो जब साइन इन विद गूगल, तो मैं जब साइन इन करूंगा, सो आई विल लॉग इन विद माय ईमेल आईडी, तो उसका एक टोकन जनरेट होगा. तो वो टोकन मुझे बैकएंड में पास करना, राइट. उससे अकॉर्डिंग ही सब मेरे रिक्वेस्ट ऑथेंटिकेट होगी. सो फॉर दैट व्हाट वी विल डू इज वी आर नॉट फोकसिंग ऑन फ्रंट एंड फॉर टुडे, बट आई विल क्रिएट अ न्यू टर्मिनल एंड जस्ट टू गेट दैट टोकन, एंड दिस इज अ वेरी फीजिबल वे टू गेट द टोकन, क्योंकि एनीवेज हमें फ्रंट एंड कोड करना ही है इस एप्लीकेशन का. सो आई वुड रिकमेंड कि सेम स्ट्रक्चर मेरे साथ फॉलो करो. गो इनटू द फ्रंट एंड, एंड जो लास्ट टाइम हमने जो पैकेज यूज किया था, टेम्पलेट यूज किया था, npx create react app, I will name this Notion live. I'm using template, so I'll put this flag of -- template, and the name was Firebase starter. तो अगर इधर तक आप आ चुके हो तो इधर से आगे we'll go, but you can wait till here, over here, and come back to this and create a front end folder. Just इसमें ज्यादा कुछ नहीं करना आज, just हमें एक folder create करना है. Okay, so I hope you are following along. So अगर मैं इधर hit करूँ, I think name is right, Firebase starter ही है नाम template का. Okay. अगर ये भी आप कर रहे हो तो जैसा आपका हो जाए डन डाल देना. इसमें वो टोकन का प्रोसेस वी हैव टू डू मैं दिखाने वाला हूँ. आई एम वेटिंग फॉर यू गाइस उसके लिए. सो it's taking a bit of time. हो गया गाइस. आपका npx create react ऐप हो गया है क्या रन करके? क्योंकि उधर से ही वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग. सो जो मैं कर रहा हूँ अभी दिस इज सम ऑफ द बॉयलर प्लेट वी रिक्वायर व्हेन यू वर्क विद फुल स्टैक एप्स. आपको फ्रंट एंड भी मैनेज करना है, बैक एंड भी मैनेज करना है, कंसोल्स के साथ डील करना पड़ता है. Pardon my internet, वो जब भी टीम्स का कैमरा वगैरह ऑन होता है इट्स नॉट दैट फास्ट. एक्चुअली एक पॉइंट क्लियर करना है मुझे ये पॉइंट पे कि फ्रंट एंड के अंदर मैंने फ्रंट एंड फोल्डर के अंदर आई रन दिस क्रिएट रिएक्ट एप्लीकेशन. तो ये जो मैं कर रहा हूँ वो सिर्फ डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करने के लिए कर रहा हूँ कि टोकन हमको चाहिए वो यूज करना है. एक्चुअली दिस इज नॉट द वे वी डू. अभी मैंने फ्रंट एंड दिखाना था आपको इसलिए ऐसा पहले फ्रंट एंड का फोल्डर बना, नहीं तो सब कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. नोशन लाइव जो अपना पेरेंट फोल्डर है उसमें ही हमको npx create react app करके करना है ताकि एक नया फोल्डर फ्रंट एंड के नाम से ही बने. जो मैंने इधर किया है वो एक और एक्स्ट्रा डायरेक्टरी बन गई. इट वोंट कॉज एनी हार्म बट दैट इज नॉट अ गुड प्रैक्टिस. ज्यादा हायरार्किकल नहीं करना स्ट्रक्चर को अगर इतना जरूरत नहीं है. सो आई थिंक दैट पॉइंट इज क्लियर. तो आपके साथ मैंने रेपो शेयर ही कर दिया है, तो वो रेपो में आप देख ही सकते हो कि हाउ वी हैव डन इट. एक एक्स्ट्रा पैकेज नहीं है. नोशन लाइव में जाके npm start. दिस इज द बेसिक थिंग जो लास्ट टाइम किया था. Okay, so over here only I will open. दूसरी जगह ओपन हुआ था. I will prefer opening it over here. इधर से I will remove. So अगर आप if you remember last time हमने क्या किया था, we took these details and we put that in .env file ताकि हमारा फ्रंट एंड कनेक्ट हो जाए. So as you can see we are moving one step nearer. जो हमारा टोकन का प्रोसेस है, हमको टोकन चाहिए राइट. जब लॉग इन करोगे, अगर आपने किधर पढ़ा होगा टोकन एंड स्टफ वो सब होता है. So what I will do, I will inspect this. Sign in with Google. Exactly, this error is because मैंने डिटेल्स नहीं डाले. तो अभी वैलिड एपीआई की नहीं पास किया, क्रेडेंशियल्स पास नहीं है, तो ये नहीं काम करेगा. सो व्हाट आई हैव टू डू इज आई हैव टू पास दिस डिटेल्स टू दिस over here in my .env file. तो ये API की है, तो आई रेकमेंड कि आप भी ये करो, क्योंकि एक बार ये प्रोसेस क्लियर हो जाए, आपका ऐप सेटअप हो जाए, तो यू कैन परफेक्ट. आई गेस ये एक्स्ट्रा हुआ था पेस्ट. आई होप यू आर डूइंग दिस alongside me. This will be extremely helpful if you do it alongside me only, ताकि जो भी आपको एरर हो वो इधर ही आपका सॉल्व हो जाए, हम सॉल्व कर देंगे. प्रोजेक्ट आईडी. ओके, सो project ID. Now I need Firebase storage bucket. What I am doing, I am just connecting my Firebase में application जो मैंने बनाया है उसके services use करने के लिए to my front end. In a couple of minutes, I will show you how to connect that to a backend. Messenger ID and app ID. This is the app ID we need to take. Okay. Okay, fine. Perfect. जब भी आप .env change करते हो, अभी npm start automatically reads for the updates, right? But whenever you change .env, I recommend कि एक बार आप server quit करो and फिर से run npm start, ताकि जब अभी login हो. But let me tell you, still we are not done. मैं बस एक एक step दिखा रहा हूँ, इसलिए you can see this कि ऐसा मैं एक एक step कर रहा हूँ. अच्छा, मैंने इधर yes नहीं किया था. अभी it will run. अभी हमको टोकन नहीं मिला है. This is just the process. So what I will do, I will log out. I will clear my console over here. I will sign in with Google. So now this will ask me for my Gmail ID and stuff. Okay, so user detected. Okay, but that was about logging in. पर अभी जो Gmail ID से मैंने login किया, I need a token, right? ऐसा token कहीं से तो मुझे मिलना चाहिए. So for that, I have a code snippet जो बस आपको डालना है ताकि आपको token मिल जाए. हैसल जो हम कर रहे हैं वो अभी इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हमारा फ्रंट एंड रेडी नहीं है. बाद में वी विल राइट अ पर्टिकुलर कोड जो ऑटोमेटिकली आपका टोकन बैकएंड के रिक्वेस्ट को देगा, पर फिलहाल के लिए वी हैव टू यूज दिस ट्रिक. फाइन, सो लेट मी गेट दैट फॉर यू. कंटेनर. आई थिंक इधर तक फॉलो किया आपने. डिटेल्स डाल दिए क्या पूरे सब? हैव यू पुट द डिटेल्स? Just let me know if you have guys have put the details. So if I go to the source, if I go to screens, to components, if I go to auth, तो यहाँ पे यूजर डिटेक्ट हो रहा है मेरा. ये प्रोसेस मैंने आपको लास्ट टाइम एक्सप्लेन किया था. थिंक a function call. Okay, autocomplete is not helping me. Yeah, now it's helping. So dot then I have to take that ID. ये कॉन्सेप्ट डॉट देन का कल हुसैन ने बहुत अच्छे से क्लियर किया था. सो आई डोंट थिंक यू गाइज हैव एनी डाउट दिस आईडी टोकन का कॉन्सेप्ट. नाउ इट इज रनिंग नाइसली. आई डोंट नो ये मेरा ऑटो कंप्लीट क्यों नहीं चल रहा, खुद से करना पड़ा मुझे. So as I have made this particular change, I will log out. You can see token generate हो चुका है, पर अभी like आप confused ना हो इसलिए I will do this from the start. I will clear the console. And ये लाइन किसको डाउट है तो यू कैन आस्क. आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग द टोकन जो यूजर मैंने लॉगिन किया है. जैसा मैंने लास्ट टाइम कहा था, ऑथ जो है आपको जो यूजर रिटर्न करता है उसमें यूजर के सब डिटेल रहते हैं. उसका यूजर नेम, उसका डिस्प्ले नेम, डिस्प्ले में जो यूआरएल है गूगल अकाउंट में, सब डिटेल्स वी गेट इट. वी डोंट हैव टू टेक एनीथिंग ऑफ दैट मैन्युअली. वही तो सबसे बड़ा एडवांटेज है फायरबेस का. और उधर से आई गेट अ टोकन जो एज अ सेशन टोकन आई विल यूज टू ऑथेंटिकेट द रिक्वेस्ट की ये टोकन. अच्छा, कभी कभी कुछ टाइम बाद लॉगिन परमिट नहीं करना होता है तो उसके लिए टोकन्स वी यूज. सो दैट इज द टोकन. So I get that token. This is a promise, as Hussein explained yesterday. So I have to resolve that तो ठीक है, अगर वो like return करेगा so dot then I will put that dot then in ID and console log ID. I think you add this line in app.js line number सेम ही तो रहेगा, टेम्पलेट है तो लाइन नंबर 15 16 के अराउंड यूजर जब प्रेजेंट होगा देन you have to put this line user.getID token dot then. सो अगर इधर तक आपने कर दिया, टोकन आपने जनरेट किया तो डिस्कॉर्ड में लिख दो डन, या नहीं तो थम्स अप दे दो, थम्स अप तो आई थिंक मुझे देखना है Yep. अगर आप फॉलो कर रहे हो और कुछ डाउट रहेगा तो भी यू कैन आस्क. दिस वाज अ लिटिल heavy token का thing, like not heavy but it was long, it was very long. So I will sign in again. I will sign in with this ID and you can see I get the token for that. Okay, हो गया guys, shall we move ahead? Okay, I presume
फंक्शन ऐप कहाँ से लाया, एक बार बता दो ना वो.
कौन सा? अच्छा ये
फंक्शन ऐप, हाँ, लाइन नंबर 9.
ये जो हमने टेम्पलेट लास्ट टाइम इफ यू अटेंडेड वीक 1 हमने वो टेम्पलेट इंट्रोड्यूस किया था फायरबेस स्टार्टर. सो व्हेन यू डू दैट ये सब फाइल्स बॉयलरप्लेट आपको मिल जाता है.
ओके ओके, हाँ हाँ.
I hope you are following along. app.js उसमें है and that is the primary file in React. Like last week we took React, so उसमें clear हुआ रहेगा कि use effect क्या होता है, use state क्या होता है वो सब. तो उसमें I have taken the token, तो मैं ID उसका भी print कर रहा हूँ. So this is a little hack as of now कि ये मैं लेके अभी backend में use करूँगा. But that was it. This was about my process in the front end. अभी मुझे front end की तरफ नहीं देखना. अभी मुझे बस backend के routes लिखने हैं. But that was about connecting to the front end. And I think I shall move ahead now for the backend connection of this application. So config में we have to create a new file known as firebase.js. तो उसमें we have to put a particular code which I won't be telling you right now. I want you to go back to the console का page again जहाँ से हमने details सब उठाए थे, firebase console.firebase.com. So वो फिर से open कर लो आप page. So I get that over here. So okay, so I will click on continue to console. I hope you guys are back at this. फ्रंट एंड हमने कनेक्ट कर दिया इधर से डिटेल्स लेके, अभी इधर से डिटेल्स लेके हमें बैक एंड कनेक्ट कर. सो अगर फॉलो अलोंग कर रहे हो तो माइक खोल के यस बोल दो, नहीं तो कैसा भी चलेगा. I will hit continue to console. 5 apps, Notion live. Project settings में we have to go. Any responses guys? क्योंकि ये मिस कर दिया तो आगे करके कुछ पॉइंट नहीं है क्योंकि ये सब.
Yes, yes, we are following.
Perfect. You have to go service accounts में जाना है इसमें. You have to go to service accounts and you have to click this create service account button. वो तो ऑलरेडी मैंने किया था, आपको करना पड़ेगा एक बार. And you have to copy this code और उसमें थोड़े चेंजेस करने हैं. ये जो आपका SDK कनेक्टर जो है इसको कनेक्टर कोड बोलते हैं. इफ यू सी जावा, पाइथन और गो का ऐसा एक कनेक्टर कोड हमें प्रोवाइड किया जाता है बाय डिफॉल्ट, तो वी हैव टू यूज दैट. थोड़े ट्विक्स है उसमें, ऑब्वियसली आई विल बी एक्सप्लेनिंग वो चेंजेस क्या है. तो आई होप आप इधर तक आ चुके हो. सो कॉपी दिस एंड पेस्ट दैट ओवर हियर and I will explain you some few little changes that we have to do. So I put that over here. So it should go in backend. अभी के लिए मुझे node 1 quit करना पड़ेगा because I need to install this package. आपने एक बार ये paste किया, so you have to import Firebase admin. We have to install Firebase admin. So what does this do? This helps us to connect our Node.js का code to our backend. Last time हमने Firebase admin frontend में लिया था. This time we are taking that in the backend. क्योंकि we have to connect it. So npmi Firebase admin you have to run in your console. Fine, without any problems that got installed. Abhi, what I did, yahi se we did that. We initialize our application. If you can get the vibes, the last time same हमने read किया था code. And I'm passing the service account certificate. Service account I'm yet to install, but I'll show you that in a minute. और उसके बाद once the app is initialized, उसका authentication instance मैंने इधर instance create किया और वो मैंने Firebase auth में store कर दिया इधर. Perfect. So I think, yep. So that was it for connecting. अभी generate new private key करना है हमें. ये जो this thing you see over here, service account. This service account is nothing but this generate private key. So if I generate private key, you can see one JSON file will be downloaded. I hope the same is happening on your machines as well. If I open it, perfect. So this is the file. So what I will do, I will put that in a service account key.js folder either, and I will make a use of it. Service account key.js, service account key.js, and here I have to create a variable service account key. और ये जो JSON है, this particular JSON will go. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this stuff. Brackets I'll remove. Don't want double brackets, okay? And I will, as a we are using type module for export, React type. Yeah, so we have to do it with this way only. So service account key.
Export default.
Sorry, export default करना पड़ेगा. Const करके नहीं चलेगा. Perfect. Export const never works. So I think you guys have followed along till here. उसके बाद we will straight away jump to our Node.js code middleware and stuff that we have to do. Okay, so I have follow this as well. Path. Make sure you pass the path correctly to your service account. Just that I have went one directory back and config service account key.js folder and all this stuff. Okay. So I think you are done with this adding JSON to your service account key. Fine. Hope you are done. So इधर तक follow कर लो, फिर we have a concept to learn इसके आगे. This was about connecting. Okay, so we have connected our application, but that was about connecting. But how will I use it? Like how will I authenticate the token and stuff? Also I have to handle. So for that, we have a thing known as middleware. So what is a middleware? Let's suppose I am passing a get route. Okay, so how does my get route work? I pass that request, and that's an express function that we studied yesterday. We pass an expression in a function in express route, and that function is executed. So it returns some JSON, some data, or anything that out of concern for now, as of now. So उसके लिए एक middleware होता है to authenticate any particular thing. Let's suppose I am passing a get route, but let's suppose for that get route I want the user to be a paid subscriber, or I want that user to be logged in. Like that page can't be accessed if that user is not logged in, or in some cases that user is not a paid subscriber. So उसके लिए there is a concept in Express known as middleware. So what does middleware do? It is something like between it. Like let's suppose I pass a route. So middleware is authenticates, checks, and then you go. Just like in mall, when you go, they check your bag and they check whether you have some items like 40 items with you. So that is the middleware between you and the mall ka gate. So exactly the same thing. We need a middleware. So I will be creating a new folder over here known as middleware. If you have that VS Code icons theme icons installed, then you can see everything. Backend mein I'm getting the server ka icon and stuff. So create a folder named as middleware, and there, as I explained to you, we have to authenticate a token. Like if the token is valid, if the token is authenticated, then the user can go to the route side. Otherwise, he can't access any of the page, right? So in Notion also you follow the same thing. Agar aap logged in nahi ho, to I can't go and just view anyone's page or just blank page, anything like that. To view that pages ka thing, I need the middleware. So I will name this file authenticate token.js. Middleware, I name this authenticate token.js. So I think you guys have followed along till here. So usme what I'll do, I won't write the entire code because this is a boilerplate middleware, you can say. Just we have to authenticate the token and pass that ahead. Okay, so I just took that. But don't worry, I will explain you how this works. Perfect. So in repo, if you go, the repo I have sent you, you can go in the backend folder, and then in middleware, you can find a file known as authenticate token.js, and then from there you can pick this up. You can grab this piece of code and paste that in the same directory I suppose you are following. I would recommend you follow same directory so that imports and all stuff you can relate easily. Okay, so this is it. Let me know once you have copy pasted this. Put that on Discord or unmute करके बोला तो भी चलेगा. Fine. Done pasting in authenticate token.js. Perfect. So I will explain you how this works. Okay. So token to ID. As this is a middleware, like let me tell you, every normal function you can convert that into middleware. You just have to pass a parameter known as next. Till yesterday we studied request and response, right? Because we give some data from our request to our URL, and response that we get, we take that. So that is our REST API work yesterday. In middleware, we have to pass the third parameter as well, that is next. Now why next? I'll tell you. Let's take the mall ka example again. You enter the mall, you are checked thoroughly कि कुछ ऐसा default item तो नहीं है आपके पास, and उसके बाद thing is not done over there, right? That was just to check something before doing anything. So before doing the bigger task, let's say shopping, yeah, you have a meeting over there. Uske pehle you are just being checked, and then the main task was going to occur. The same thing, middleware is just to check some prerequisites or some requirements before you go to the main task. So to tell middleware ki yes, this guy is completely without any bombs or something, that like you can pass ahead that guy, that is just next. So when you call next, you are like, okay, everything is all good, all clear, then you can pass him ahead. That was about next. Now about this token, I'll be coming back to this. Yesterday we passed body to our request. We passed a body. Today we'll be passing authorization token as well. So in headers is something, the data that we require to authorize. Yeah, sometimes there are multiple tokens that we pass. So as of now, to keep it simple, we'll be passing authorization token, and I'll get that through headers. Yesterday हमने body में pass किया था, as Hussein taught you. आज हम authorization में pass करेंगे, and request.headers.authorization. If that token is not present, अगर token मैंने pass ही नहीं किया है, then I will return response.send message no token provided. This is a status code 401. So you can Google status codes and you can see किस चीज के लिए क्या status code return करना होता है. For example, 500 is for internal server error and stuff. So these are some basic error codes. If header token is there and this starting word token is not provided, I'll get back to this. This might seem a little some over thing to do. But the reason we pass a word also ahead, like before that token, that is because in complex applications, sometimes there are paid subscribers, unpaid, and sometimes some routes are allowed, even though the user is not logged in via his company's email and stuff. So this is the reason we pass this word. So I will come to this once I explain the backend how to pass routes. This thing will be clear. If everything is good, like there is, I handle all the checks over here, and if nothing of this is encountered, like header token नहीं है तो भी आगे नहीं जाना चाहिए, starting का word token नहीं डाला है फिर भी आगे नहीं जाना चाहिए, but none of this is encountered, let's suppose sub everything is good, then I pass this token to verify ID token to my Firebase auth. Now, from where did I create this instance? You can see .config slash firebase.js में I exported this Firebase auth, right? So either say I get this function from Firebase itself, I pass this token. This token is verified. Keep is the user same? Is the session still active? All these XYZ parameters are first of all put across one another and checked whether this is the same user. So this is a checking process that is happening. And if again we come back to promises, if it is resolved, if the promise is resolved, then you pass it to then. And again, you get the user, as I told you, the user which is authenticated, which is checked upon regularly, you get that as a parameter. And you then this is the basic for MongoDB code. I'll come back to this. If the user is present in database, I think we did this MongoDB thing yesterday. So if the user is present, then check, like find him first. Key user जो आया है, user से जो UID parameter है, check that whether is equal to the current UID. If that is the case, then don't create the new user. If the user is not there, then create a new user in database and store it. Right? अगर इधर user ही नहीं है मेरे पास, I think you are following me. If user is there, it's okay. But if user is not there, DB user अगर न लाया मुझे कि database में user ही नहीं है, like I executed the query find one, but I don't have a user, then I will create a new user over here, new user, and I will pass this. I will save that key user, save the user. Every process is await process, whichever I'm dealing with MongoDB. And this is request user ID. So I'm passing this in the middleware only. Ki middleware से जब आगे जा रहा है, so I have to pass a message. Let's suppose in mall also, if the watchman talks through walkie-talkie की, okay, all clear. So ऐसा ही कुछ imagine करो, इधर से मैं user ID की तरह एक message pass कर रहा हूँ जो मेरे request body में जा रहा है. Request user ID I'm passing user.user ID and then next. Okay, user is verified properly. अगर ये verify नहीं हो जाता, ठीक है, अगर he was not verified, अगर ये resolve नहीं होता ठीक से promise. So I'm catching the error over here, dot catch. And अगर वो इतना like token का error नहीं है, but I'm returning this. So अगर header token present ही नहीं है, then I return that over here. So everything is being handled properly. But again, for this middleware, if you are using some REST architecture, don't have to worry about it much. This is sort of a boilerplate which you can put. So I think this was about middleware, and that was too much to talk about, I guess. So if you guys have any doubts, इसमें क्या कैसा नहीं चला, क्या हो रहा है, if you have any doubt, then you can put that on Discord, or again you can unmute and talk. I suppose no doubts. Okay, fine. Anything else?
All we did this is for getting the token only, right?
Sorry,
Managing the token.
can you repeat?
All we did this process is for managing the token of the user ID which is
Yes,
logged in.
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's great. You're following. Awesome. Perfect. Then now let's go ahead. Now we have done a lot, so let's try writing a few routes. Okay, we wrote this middleware, but we have to also use that middleware, right? So I'm exporting this from here, default token ID. In my server.js, I will use this. So okay, this was not something which I want. App.use. So imports challenge, I guess. Perfect. I have to do .js over here because again, type module you are following, so don't forget to add .js over there. So before writing any of the routes, guys, I have added app.use token ID so that This is the middleware. Before running any of the route, this middleware will be checked. किसी भी route में अगर आपका token expired है या ऐसा नहीं है, कुछ आपका token में issue है, then it won't be passed ahead, right? So this was about it. Const app express app.use token to ID. Perfect. So again, we followed the routes ka thing yesterday. So as we are on to it, then I think I can create a folder named as routes. Usme I will name that page.js. So as now we get back to this, we get back to the page.js. Still we are yet to connect our backend. हमने अभी sorry database we are yet to connect. So also that also I will cover. Okay, how will we cover that actually? Perfect. In routes, what I need is a router, right? Because I'll be using get, I'll be using post. These mostly ऐसा get, post, delete, put बहुत सारे रहते हैं. But I'll be explaining get or post because as Hussein mentioned yesterday, majority of the developers try to concise their code to this only, get and these. So what I will do is I'll import router, spelling mistake, from Express. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll again create an instance of router. I'll store that in route. Then if you see, then if I do route dot, you can see get and all. This was explained yesterday, so there is no point in me getting in details over here again. So I think route dot. अभी फिलहाल के लिए what we'll do? We'll try passing one normal like trial route for our testing. Once that works, एक बार idea आ जाए हमें, all perfect एकदम. Trial route I'm naming, won't name this that big. I'll just name that trial, and I will do. Oh, I did not pass the response and request objects. Okay. Rest.send, and I'll pass that over here as a. Message. This works. Obviously, I will be putting all this in controller, but फिलहाल के लिए let's not jump. सीधा on controllers and stuff. Let's understand the basic thing over here. So I save this. I have not connected MongoDB yet, but that is also okay. Trial के लिए I think we can go ahead without that. So I'll go to server.js file. Now fingers crossed. Okay. Why fingers crossed? I did not even call it over here. So I'll call API. Okay, I'll call API and I'll just check कि यहाँ पे मैंने इसको ऐसा नाम दिया है. Perfect. So I'll just do it API. I did not export default route, I guess. Perfect. So you follow along over here. Export default route, and I will use that in my server.js. Perfect. Routes from route page. Autocomplete. Thankfully, it was not working. So app.use. So I have put the middleware. Firstly, I instantiated app is equal to express. Then I put the middleware app.use/API route also worked. App listen 8000 console.log server is running. This was to listen. I think now we have stopped our server from running because we were installing Firebase admin. Now let's run it again. Node my server.js. Some error. Okay, so I think Acha, got it. I can't run this middleware, I guess, because I forgot to teach you one thing, that is creating this user. अभी user हमारे पास फिलहाल के लिए we have not connected anything MongoDB and stuff. So before checking, I will have to cover this part as well. We have to connect MongoDB and stuff, then we can check. I completely forgot about, like, I was using user over here. So I think before going on to MongoDB part and creating schemas, it's been 1 hour. We are continuously doing it. So I think this is a nice time to ask for doubts and wait for a while so that you guys can, gather all things around. So let's, take a breather for a minute And in that, if you have any questions, if you want to ask anything, any random question, how did we do this, from like why am I doing this, any questions if you have, we are here to answer. So you can answer, you can ask, my bad, we will answer. It won't be the other way around, as of now at least. Yes guys, I think we are back from the break. Fine, I think you guys are also back. Perfect. Thumbs up मिल सकता है क्या मुझे अगर आप वापस आ चुके हो? Because I am back.
मिल गया सर.
Why can't I see thumbs up, Susan? Or is there any setting or something?
Teams पे देखना, Teams पे.
Teams में like since week 0 of month of 1, I can't even see a single thumbs up. It's been week 3 now. It's okay. And anyways. Okay, perfect. So I hope you can still see my screen. Yes, it is still visible. So this part was covered yesterday about how to install Mongoose. Like we know Mongoose is a client, node client for MongoDB. So if once you run npm mongoose, npm install mongoose, you are ready to use this .schema and stuff. So I also recommend you guys go to the repo. इसलिए मैंने link share किया था starting में. Let's not waste our time writing this again and again. This is obviously you guys have understood this. I'll explain this pages, page schema, what is. This is a slightly new concept for you, so I will explain you this. Again, we need a page.js. Again, you can go and grab that. The reason we are taking a lot of code from the repo is because this is what you have studied yesterday. So why to waste our time doing the same thing again, when we can learn new things, try out new things. So even page schema, you can see, obviously this is a new thing for you. So I'll first explain you. First, let me know when, like, if you have copy pasted the code. तो उसके बाद
मिल गया thumbs up.
Perfect. So perfect. So these are normal parameters we pass. उसमें एक दो parameters there are new, min length, max length, though it is self-explanatory. This is a new thing, immutable. So what is this in MongoDB? Basic types तो you studied yesterday, while to do. So these are some new which I'm explaining you right now. Immutable is something, let's suppose अभी मैंने एक नया पेज का डॉक्यूमेंट क्रिएट किया, let's suppose, और इसमें I can update it. Obviously you know there are some functions like update, and जैसा कि कल हमने toggle update कर रहे थे हम. So some things are mutable, like they can be updated, but some parameters such as created at और जो यूजर है उसका, तो उसको तो हमें अपडेट नहीं करना है. तो फिलहाल के लिए we are dealing with just created at, and that is for now immutable. Immutable को true set किया ताकि वो फिर से अपडेट ना हो सके. And this is pageschema.pre. This is again a middleware which MongoDB provides us. कि जब भी जैसा कि हमने अपडेट देखा कल, तो अपडेट में we are also in this case on Notion we are keeping a track of updated at किस टाइम पे अपडेट हुआ था. So this is a function, this is a MongoDB kind of a middleware function कि जो भी हम add, जब भी हम सेव करेंगे उसको, तब ये फंक्शन रन होगा और अपडेटेड का जो टाइम है ये अपडेट होना चाहिए. दिस इज द इंस्टेंस कि जो भी इंस्टेंस का तुम जो सेव कर रहे हो उसका कॉन्टेक्स्ट वो दिस में सेव होता है. अगर आपको दिस का पता होगा थोड़ा, तो उधर से दिस डॉट अपडेटेड, तो वो पर्टिकुलर इंस्टेंस का अपडेटेड पैरामीटर अपडेट होता है डेट डॉट नाउ से, जो टाइम पे हम उसको सेव कर रहे हैं. यू कैन से आई एम पासिंग दिस. सो जैसा कि डॉट वंस होता है, एरर होता है, जैसा डॉट सेव भी होता है. So and over here in user, as you can see, I'm exporting const page schema over here, and I'm taking that from page.js, as you can see over here. And over here this is like, देखो ये object है, right? In MongoDB we deal with NoSQL stuff. Those are an objects. So JavaScript में we studied array of objects in our earlier weeks. So this is nothing but array of objects. So object का type क्या है? Page schema. क्योंकि this is a structure we'll be storing in. जो भी यूजर है उसका पेजेस का एक एरे रहेगा, एरे ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट्स रहेगा जिसमें हम स्टोर करने वाले हैं. सो आर्किटेक्चर, आई होप इट इज क्लियर. आर्किटेक्चर आपको क्लियर हुआ रहेगा अभी तक, द वे वी आर गोइंग टू डील विद इट. यूजर रहेगा, उसके यूजर के डिटेल्स, उसका नेम, पिक्चर और टाइम. लाइक पिक्चर एंड नॉट टाइम वी आर नॉट यूजिंग, एंड ईमेल वी आर नॉट यूजिंग. स्टिल जस्ट to teach you guys कि अगर आपको कहीं use करना हो तो you can implement that this way. Pages में we will be storing array of objects उनका कि क्या array of objects है. Okay, तो ये module बना लिया mongoose, but one thing, we are yet to connect our application to our MongoDB, right? So I think we should do that right now. I will create a new folder. In here only, I will create a new file. And database db.js क्योंकि ये configuration है db का. And again, ये हमने कल किया था, so वो एक sort of एक boilerplate है. We don't have to do it again. So I will take that. I will grab that. Fine. So just give me a minute. Till then, you can copy paste these modules. I will quickly take that. And also explain the code कि हमने कैसा यहाँ पे use किया. So this is the code. Obviously, this is not the kind of imports we expect. So import. Okay, fine. And also this won't work this way. We have to do export default connect DB. I think from here also I can do. This is because of the const हटाना पड़ेगा, I guess. I will give you this code db.js. Actually, there are multiple ways you can connect. We don't want this everything to work, so we just need database connected. We have to take that .in. We also studied yesterday. .env config we studied yesterday. So I'll be using .env, but I won't be using it this way. So this code I'll give you. I'll change this a little. आपको explain करते करते कि कैसा मैं करूँ. Then I will provide you this code. So I'm importing .env.config. यहाँ पे भी change करना है. /config connection. Wait, mongoose connect, and this is connected. So I'll have to create a .env file in my backend. इसके अंदर मत create करना, उसको backend में ही create करना. And we'll be again. This is the same thing that we did yesterday. So I will connect this, and then I will give you the code. This should run perfectly. All right. You can get this code from Discord. मैंने वहाँ पे डाल दिया month of month के इसमें जहाँ पे आप सब text डालते हो. So I have put this. Fine. I can see thumbs up on Discord. So I think you guys have got it. Over here, I have to go to MongoDB Atlas. Again, yesterday process that we followed. I recommend this also you guys follow exactly along with me. क्योंकि code तो मिल सकता है, but these steps are something which are important. Sign in because like I'll go to the point till which yesterday Hussein covered, and then I'll teach you how to connect it and stuff. Okay, so you were here till this point. So this was the cluster which you guys had ready till yesterday. We did to do in this cluster. So I need to connect this. So again, this connect button, as you can see over here, connect with MongoDB shell and take this line. No, this was not that one. Connect. This was it. Click on the second, not on the first one. But this was the part which was covered yesterday. So in .env, I will put this and make sure you put your ID and password. I'll put mine in front of you, but I will change once the session is over. As Hussein explained yesterday, these files are not supposed to go to our public repository because these contain our delicate information, such as username and password and stuff. So let me try it once. I think cover up this process till now. I guess this was already taught to you guys yesterday. So this should not take any time. Connect DB also I imported. If I do, cannot find .env. Achha, I did not install .env package, I guess. Yep. That's the error because I did not install .env package. Make sure you install it as well. There are a few errors which I'm getting. That was the only error. I forgot to install .env in the beginning. So I get 2 thumbs ups, one from Vinay and one from Vatsal. Amazing. Perfect. The reason I commented this out is because मैंने token नहीं pass किया था अभी तक. So, till now we have connected MongoDB successfully. We have done everything. Like we have models as well. So just we have to write the routes now. So don't do those basic mistakes which I did. जैसे कि .env में install करना भूल गया था. Front end को हमें touch ही नहीं करना. Fine. I guess इधर तक हो चुका रहेगा. If you guys are done till now, unmute and tell me or put anything on Discord. तो इसके में आगे चला जाओ क्योंकि now this is a part of token and stuff we have to do. I think हो गया है. As I don't see any responses, I will go ahead. Fine. So I had kept this open. So obviously session expire होता है after half an hour. I will make sure I clear this out. अभी तक as I don't get any responses, I presume कि you guys don't have any questions or you guys are done doing जो करना है. So again, I urge you guys to go to the backend front end page जो हमने यहाँ पे React app किया था. Create React app में जो front end पे खुला था, go over there and click on sign in with Google. We have to generate the token, right? जो हमने एकदम start में generate किया था. I taught you how to generate. So once I log in, I get the token, right? So I hope this is the right token which I'm using. Now the point is, if I'm, let's suppose I'm using the middleware. I've done this app.use. Oh, wait. Array comment हट गया. My bad. Perfect. That is a very silly thing. So app.use API in which I do this route. Route comes from this route page.js, and in page.js I'm printing. So मेरा aggregate total path क्या हुआ? /API/trial, right? So what I'll do, I'll open Thunder client. Anyways, my server is running. So कौन सा भी एक instance open कर दो. Guys, do you have Thunder client installed? I think कल जब हुसैन ने सीखा तब Thunder client you guys. I expect you guys installed Thunder client yesterday.
Thumbs up.
आई क्या thumbs up?
Yes, sir.
Right. तो API में ट्रायल राउट था अपना और वो गेट था. Send. Could not authorize. Oh, same mistake I did. I forgot to pass the token. Okay. So guys, come to Thunder client. Go to headers. In headers, go to authorization. एक्सेप्ट यूजर एजेंट आपको वहां पे इनबिल्ट दिखेंगे. गो टू ऑथराइजेशन, टोकन, स्पेस, और जो टोकन हमने कंसोल से कॉपी पेस्ट किया. अच्छा, what was its shortcut? Command and left arrow key, right? No, not required. चल गया. All right, guys, can you see? I get the message as this works. This was the complete setup part, middleware, MongoDB and stuff. This was the complete setup part. तो अभी अगर यूजर नहीं भी था हमारे इसमें डेटाबेस में, कनेक्ट हमने कर दिया ब्राउज कलेक्शंस, तो यूजर वो इस यूजर क्लस्टर में बन जाएगा. इधर यूजर में इफ यू कैन सी, अभी मैंने देखा कि मैंने j.malware 73 अकाउंट से लॉगिन किया था. सो यू कैन सी अभी pages.array, ये तो मेरे पहले के ट्रायल के थे. बट इफ यू क्रिएट अ न्यू अकाउंट आपको इतना नया अपडेट देगा. बट इफ यू कैन सी ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग था, तो मेरा अलग न्यू ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं बना बिकॉज द चेक्स दैट वी हैव एडेड इन आवर मिडलवेयर. ओके, fine. This was a pretty long process. We started at 2:15, it's 3:15, 3:20 now. But I think thumbs up दे दो अभी फिर से एक बार अगर इधर तक आपको ये थंडर क्लाइंट में मैसेज आ चुका है. This works. And now we move ahead to routes.
आ गया thumbs up.
हाँ. All right. Perfect. Let's go back to this. हाँ, ये open ही था. Let's get to page.js. इसमें we have to write routes. Yesterday the concept of controllers was not covered, so today I'll be teaching controllers as well. No rocket science at all. जो route हम यहाँ पे लिख रहे हैं this trial के बाद, this will just go in another folder and that's it, जिसको हम controllers बोलते हैं. वो folder में जाएंगे, we will have controllers. And if you guys notice now, जो मैंने आपको starting में repository का link भेजा था, we are moving closer and closer to that same architecture. But now you know how to approach. What are the steps that we require? So in controllers, I will name it page controllers. यहाँ पे मेरे रहेंगे controllers. Again, if you guys go to that अपना link which I sent you, in controllers you are just seeing the functions. So obviously we are going to write now. We'll be coding that right away. So you can see we have written new page controller, we have written get specific page controller, get all pages controller. Till now, if I want to tell you, this was the new part for you. Uske baad, everything that we are going to write now is either MongoDB oriented or some things that you have to do. Like there is a little bit of logic. I won't say no logic at all, but this was the difficult part, according to me. Abhi iske baad jo hai, that is very logical and you can write the code conceptually. Till now, this was the stuff in which people might get stuck. Okay, so I need some imports, right? I need mongoose, because obviously mongoose में अपना पूरा वो notion का code control होगा, mongoose होगा, और I need import, I need page and user as well, दोनों में deal करूँगा. I will take that. Perfect. I imported page, I imported user because and mongoose. So ये तो हमें पता है कि this all things we require. Now I will create this known as new page, as we have to add okay. Again, as we sent out to you yesterday, every express that we write function will be a async thing. यहाँ पे हमें new page का control लिखना है. For now, what I will do, I will just send. I think this won't work over here. Perfect. I will just do some message like this is to write, and इसके बाद we will put the logic inside this. Message will be this is to add a new. We test these routes. Again, get all pages can also be an async thing. Maybe request response and also take that and just put that message. This is to get all pages. Perfect. फिलहाल के लिए get all pages and add a new page. We'll work on this and then we'll see ahead क्या होता है. Okay, controller, I wrote functions over here, but what about taking them, importing them in routes? We did not do that. So let's do that over here. इधर से ये okay, we'll keep a trial route. अगर आपको कभी boilerplate refer करना हो तो. So route.get, obviously get route रहेगा कि get all pages. So I'll just name it simply get pages. और यहाँ पे get all pages I'm importing. So if you can see, ये ऊपर import हो चुका है. Again type module है तो .js करना पड़ेगा. And I've imported get pages. Save करने पे prettier works. Perfect. So now I just hope this works. We are just trying out all the routes. Okay, so इधर ही we'll write new page. अगर हमने वो लिख के दिया है तो we'll write new page as well. New page. That was new page control, which again comes from site में यहाँ आएगा. That was new page controller, I guess. So I have to import that controller. Fine. So what I did over here is yesterday when we wrote the to do ka code, get के बाद ही we wrote the express का function, right? We wrote that async await function. Now just to make our code readable, मैंने वो जो routes थे वो मैंने push कर दिया controllers में और यहाँ से मैं export कर रहा हूँ. As you can see, I'm exporting it from here and I'm using that page.js. That's it. No rocket science at all. Just to clean our code a little because अभी ठीक है ये 4-5 routes का page है इसलिए. But let's suppose you go ahead and develop some huge applications. You are, having thousands of get requests and thousands of, I'm just exaggerating, but so many. So this one file will become a lot bigger. So इसलिए we can, अभी इधर मैंने page controller बनाया, but let's suppose we have a lot of things. So I will create multiple pages. Page controller, user controller, some like subscription controller and all that stuff. You get the point. So abhi API pe if I do get pages, even that is a get out, I guess. What happened?
Server start.
Exactly. वो install करने के बाद I guess server start. Just made. Exactly. I forgot to again start the server. The most basic thing. Start the server before passing the request. And अगर मैंने यहाँ पे new page ही नाम था मेरा. Start a new page. Slight mistake we did. New page should be a poster because हमको इसमें body में parameters pass करने हैं. Again, perfect. Page controllers में भी है problems. Now what we'll do? Routes boilerplate is ready, token is ready, database is ready, everything is ready. So we will write the logic to get all the pages. हमको सब pages चाहिए, right? So we have to find the user first. अभी इधर फिलहाल के लिए I will comment this out. तो I recommend कि जो repo I sent you, वो you keep that open in front of you. बहुत ज़्यादा आवाज आ रहा है कंस्ट्रक्शन का.
No sir, don't worry.
Perfect, thank you. अभी हमें get all pages करना है. So if you open that repo, you can see. तो हम उधर से we will write. Try catch का shortcut नहीं चल रहा. ठीक है. I don't know why the hell shortcuts are not working today. So I need to get those pages, right? So how will I get? I explained you the structure, right? जब हम यहाँ पे ये कर रहे थे, I explained you the structure कि user के अंदर ही हमने pages रखे. तो user का UID है जो हमारे front end के ID से match हो रहा है, जो हमने check किया था इधर अपने middleware में. If you can see over here, I was checking that. वही मैं check कर रहा हूँ जो हमने model copy paste किया यहाँ पे. So उसके अंदर ही जो nested array of objects है वहाँ से ही मुझे pages निकालने हैं, वो user के particular सब pages निकालने हैं. So what I'll do user dot find. अभी find में there are actually two parameters we pass. missing catch. Okay, good one will keep on disturbing me, तो ये catch लिख ही देते हैं. Catch क्या करता है? Error catch करेगा. And for now, we'll console log in. Okay. Missing catch. So ये syntax error पे break हो गया और मेरा internet की वजह से भी crash हो गया. Extension host was terminated. Sorry for that. और सिर्फ नोट सर्वर कर दूं मैं. Oh, my bad. This directory is not the one we wrote. The restart हुआ तब directory change हुई थी. Backend clear. My bad, guys. पहले directory में कर रहा था मैं. So find takes two parameters. First की किसके according filter करना है, and second जो find किया है उसमें से क्या चाहिए. So अभी let's suppose over here I pass these two things. I have to filter through UID जो है वो request dot user ID रहेगा. I will explain you ये कहाँ से आया. UID request ID और अभी मुझे क्या क्या चाहिए उसमें से, right? So pages में से I just want title to be returned and I want I guess ID to be returned. Yes, I don't want everything to be returned. So ये ID चाहिए और page चाहिए. This commas. This comma is not required. Perfect. So I am finding. So let me explain you this code. कैसा ये चलेगा? तो const page is equal to await because obviously external source से आ रहा है. तो user dot find UID request dot user ID कि जो user ID अभी ये कहाँ से आया, ठीक है? I'll explain you this. जो हमने middleware पास किया था, इधर if you see middleware में, मैंने उसी टाइम रिक्वेस्ट में यूजर आईडी ऑब्जेक्ट मेरा शो कर दिया. उसके आगे वो रिक्वेस्ट में नेक्स्ट में कैरी होता गया. कॉल फंक्शन टू रन आफ्टर मिडलवेयर इज फिनिश्ड. तो ये नेक्स्ट फंक्शन जब कॉल होता गया उसके बाद दैट ऑब्जेक्ट वाज कैरीड इन एवरी फंक्शन दैट आर मॉडल यूजर्स. सो उसमें इसमें से व्हाट आई डिड, आई फेच दैट यूजर आईडी कि जो यूजर आईडी ऑथेंटिकेशन के टाइम पास हुआ है, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली अगर मैंने लॉगिन किया है तो मेरा ये यूजर आईडी पास हुआ है. डेटाबेस में वो यूआईडी से फिल्टर करो. नाउ पेजेस में से आई डोंट वांट एवरीथिंग. I just want title and ID to be written. Okay. But finding this is not enough. Obviously, I have to pass this data. So I will pass this. So I will do data page 0 dot pages. Okay. So I'll explain you what is this actually. Okay. So what is this actually we are doing? ठीक है, we found page. Okay. Just think of it this way. In MongoDB, as we studied yesterday, find is something जो हमें सब लाके देगा कि find मतलब जो भी है सब find करो. But we know कि वो request user ID से एक ही object return होगा. पर our system is not that smart to understand. वो पूरा एक array return करेगा. वो जो भी हम object request कर रहे हैं उसका array return करेगा. तो वो array में हमको obviously we know कि एक ही element है, right? So array का पहला element we fetch over here और उसमें से pages we write we want, right? We don't want user ID on the front end. So we just need pages. So then I do pages over here. I response dot json. तो response में json format में करना है. ये हमने कल देखा था. And dot json data page not dot pages. That's it. So I think we are good to try this out. I'm just checking whether I'm missing something. ठीक है, इधर कैश में console किया, it's okay. We'll also send the error over here फिलहाल के लिए. Restore send. Wait. And now I think my Thunder client won't work if I put the request because extensions are not working on my VS Code. God knows why. So if I add get pages, pages. Starting terminal. Oh God. I think guys, अभी तक मैंने आपको ये लॉजिक तो एक्सप्लेन कर दिया कि कैसा हमको रिटर्न करना है क्या. सो फर्स्ट फंक्शन अभी तो यही कर लेता हूँ मैं अगर ये नहीं कुछ सपोर्ट कर रहा है. सो द फर्स्ट फंक्शन इज द फाइंडिंग फिल्टर पैरामीटर कि किस चीज पे फिल्टर करना है. एंड सेकंड इज फिल्टर तो कर लिया तो अभी क्या रिटर्न करना है. सो आई होप यू नाउ गेट कि MongoDB में कैसा काम करता है. I will be sharing a PDF with you guys जिसमें सब ये जो मैं अभी बोलूंगा उसका सब वो सिंटैक्स है कि कैसा क्या फिल्टर करना पड़ेगा. You don't have to by heart anything या you know remember anything. कोडिंग में कभी वो ऐसा we don't recommend कि कभी कुछ याद रखो. So this is the PDF. I have put that on month of month dark.pdf. So yes, so you can find that over there. This is not working. So till now, if you guys have any doubts, okay, I got reaction as well. Vinay and Vatsal, perfect. Okay, so guys, if you guys have any doubts कि ये कैसा क्या किया, obviously I'm waiting for my internet to be stable back again क्योंकि VS Code मेरा कुछ ये नहीं कर रहा है. नेट की वजह से टर्मिनल भी बार-बार बंद हो रहा है मेरा. So if you guys have any doubts, let's utilize this time in clearing your doubts. जो भी अभी तक डाउट है, कुछ random question है, तो you can do it. You can ask me the question. इसके बाद we just now wrote the get route. We'll be writing a post route. Abhi. In a couple of minutes, we'll be writing the post route. I will just close and open this once, ताकि ये फिर से ठीक हो जाए. Give me a minute. Guys, extremely sorry for that internet havoc. कौन से डायरेक्टरी में हूँ मैं? CD backend. नोडमॉन सर्वर दिख जाएगा अगर कुछ एरर है तो. फिलहाल के लिए नहीं है. So we go back to our Thunder client again. अब ये बंद हुआ रहेगा Thunder client. Yes. So we open the Thunder client again. If you guys are following along, try putting this request. आपको कोई pages नहीं दिखेंगे वहाँ पे. क्योंकि you guys have not yet added. So localhost 8000/API/get pages पे अगर मैं route पे जाऊँ, if I hit send, I think yep, you see this testing hello जब मैं वो मेरे testing के time कर रहा था. तो instead of deleting, I thought against it ताकि आपको दिखे कि क्या दिख रहा है इधर. अभी what we are doing, now we will write how to add a new page to this. ठीक, okay? कि ये जो हमने लिखा अभी इसको हमको new page add करना है. Basically ये जो हमारा new page है, इसमें जो हमारा post route अगर मैं इसको request करूँ, this is to add a new page, but functionality तो डालना पड़ेगा. तो again going back to the page controller. So now you guys get an idea कैसा करना है. Try catch में we have to write some MongoDB का boilerplate जिसका मैंने आपको PDF send कर दिया है. I hope you guys have got it. Yes, I have got reactions. Wonderful. So if you find new page controller, new page and all, so इसमें again we'll comment out this line. Again, as I have recommended in starting only, keep that repo open ताकि आपको समझेगा मैं कैसा क्या line पे कर रहा हूँ. Launched page. अभी हमने पेज नाम का एक बनाया था, राइट? स्कीमा बनाया था, तो उसमें हमें मल्टीपल थिंग्स वी पुट एज डिफॉल्ट कि टाइम नाउ डेट डॉट नाउ डिफॉल्ट जाने दो ये सब, लेकिन सम थिंग्स आर देयर व्हिच वी नीड टू ऐड, राइट? सो दोस थिंग्स विल बी आई नीड टू ऐड अ टाइटल. दिस रिक्वेस्ट डॉट बॉडी आल्सो वाज कवर्ड यस्टरडे. बॉडी मतलब जो हम बॉडी जेसॉन पास करेंगे हमारे पोस्ट रिक्वेस्ट, दैट्स व्हाई इट्स अ पोस्ट रिक्वेस्ट, राइट? गेट इज समथिंग हमको सिर्फ स्टैटिक डेटा रिटर्न करना है. पोस्ट इज अ रिसोर्सफुल राउट. अब रिसोर्सफुल राउट क्या होता है? हमको रिसोर्स पास करना है उसको और फिर वो हमें देगा. पर अगर इधर कुछ ना दिखे तो अनटाइटल्ड का दे दो. और अगर कंटेंट है रिक्वेस्ट डॉट बॉडी डॉट कंटेंट, अगर वो भी नहीं है तो उसको एम्प्टी पास करवा दो. created at कि हमें पास करना पड़ेगा जो मैंने immutable property के बारे में बात की था. So that will be date dot now. I did not get any autocomplete for date dot now because I did data dot now. Sorry, that my bad. Typing में वो miss कर दिया मैंने. Const page. What is this? We added new page. So we did not end our page. Page end करना भूल गया था मैं यहाँ पे. Okay, so what I did, this is a post request, right? So new page में मुझे new page add करना है. तो जो भी whatever I have passed, जो मैंने title pass किया है, content pass किया है, that I get that from my requested body. In a minute I'll show you वो कैसे pass करते हैं. कल भी दिखाया था, अभी के लिए revision हो जाएगा आपका. And then I create the page का schema. तो page का model में मैंने डाल दिया. तो ये model बन गया, ये मैंने page में store कर दिया. Now what I will do? अब ये पेज तो मेरा बन गया है कॉन्स्ट पेज करके. नाउ आई विल डील विद माय मोंगोडीबी कि लाइक मेरे को सर्वर पे स्टोर करना है. तो व्हाट आई डू, आई नेम दिस कॉन्स्ट सेव्ड पेज अवेट. ठीक है, नाउ यू विल गेट इट कि अभी यूजर में क्यों जा रहे हैं हम, पर आई एक्सप्लेन यू द लॉजिक इन अ व्हाइल. अगेन हमें यूजर को अपडेट करना है तो यूजर की पहला पैरामीटर हर बार फिल्टर रहता है कि किसको अपडेट करना है बता दो. तो ये यूजर आईडी मैंने पास किया. अभी बताने का कि क्या अपडेट करना है. तो उसमें देयर आर डॉलर कीज जो हमेशा आप बोलते हैं कि पुश करना है, राइट? अपडेट में सेट करना हो सकता है, पुश कर सकते हैं, डिलीट के टाइम पुल कर सकते हैं. ऑब्वियसली आई विल शो यू दैट. तभी पुश में क्या करना है, जो पेजेस है उसमें हमको ये पेज पुश करना है. अभी पेज कहाँ से है, हमने यहाँ पे बनाया था लाइन नंबर 7 पे. तो आई थिंक नाउ यू गेट द आइडिया. इधर मैं कॉमा डाल दूं. अगेन द सेम एरर, सॉरी माय बैड. यहाँ पे कैच को डालना मैं हर बार भूल जाता हूँ. सो कैच एरर console.log एरर. ठीक है, shell connection was lost. Sorry, not ccd, it is cd. Okay, all right. So what I did, look, I first pass की filter किस पे करना है, इस पे filter करूँ. अब अपडेट में क्या करना है, सेट करते पुश करते. मेरे को सेट तो करना नहीं. सेट मतलब क्या होता है, थिंग विच इज देयर, अपडेट दैट एग्जिस्टिंग थिंग, दैट इज नोन एज सेट. पुश मतलब जो ऑलरेडी पेजेस का एरे जो है, मैंने जो आपको दिखाया था इधर पेज एरे ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट्स मॉडल्स में. राइट नाउ आई वोंट गो बैक टू इट, टाइम वेस्ट हो जाएगा. आई होप यू रिमेंबर. उसमें मेरे को ये जो पेज बनाया नया वो ऐड करना है. दैट्स इट, दैट्स द लॉजिक वी फॉलो. आई थिंक यस आई हैव कवर्ड एवरीथिंग. आई एम जस्ट चेकिंग वेदर आई एम मिसिंग एनीथिंग. परफेक्ट, ओके फाइन. तो यहाँ पे बट एक बार ये प्रोसेस हो जाए मेरे अपडेट का, तो आई वांट टू रिटर्न दिस. I'll again pass a message कि success. ठीक है, okay, perfect. Everything is good. Saved page. Okay, date dot now. So now let's try. If we get error, then obviously we'll come to know if we are missing something. Body may be needed title and content, right? Okay, so as of now, forget about this. Title will be Hussein and its guy will be Codecell member. And now if I, fingers crossed, connection was forcibly closed. I think that's an error. Okay, I'll just figure out. No issues. Error is what makes the developer strong. Requested body dot title, requested body dot content. I'm taking that, passing that as a body. If I hit post,
express.json वाला middleware नहीं लिखा शायद. Server. Yes.
Got it. One thing I missed. Exactly right, Hussein. I missed the using that .json, express.json. This error is one of the biggest hints for what is going to come around. So I'm hinting you guys कि जो मैंने मिस किया है इस पे एक क्वेश्चन आने वाला है आपको, मेकिंग यू अवेयर, छोटा सा हिंट. Okay, so in server.js we have to do one thing. Again, if you guys go to the route, you can see if we have implemented it that as well. Okay, my internet is time slow. Express.json. We have to add this particular line above our middleware. Server.use express.json. उससे क्या होगा? Whatever post request data we are passing, just one line is required. Server is name. So मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ वो to save our time I'm picking up the code from there, इसलिए server ले लिया. Perfect. I think now it should work. Now if I add page, okay, इधर रिटर्न नहीं किया मैंने. Yes, I know. अगर मेरा पेज बन जाए, so I need to return message success, and if I have any error, इधर तो लिख के लेते हैं कुछ तो, like we'll write something like message. एक बार ये आइडिया आ जाए, then we can go ahead and see, understand what all other routes are. I just want to make you comfortable. There is what to update. How to update. ये इसमें कॉल होगा. Push pages.push rest.send message. Maybe I'll cancel this request. And it's not working. It's very slow. Just cancel this out and open that back up again. Title and content I put, it's a post request API, new page. Perfect. Internet का issue था, I know. Today my internet is not doing well. So message.success अब ये add हो चुका. Now if I show you get pages, obviously it's a get request, and if I do get pages, you can see last में there is a thing. ये title Hussein, content नहीं दिख रहा है आपको is because that is not an error. If you see जहाँ पे मैं ये get all pages कर रहा हूँ, I am telling कि मुझे सिर्फ title ही चाहिए. Okay, so if I said content to one, इधर content भी दिख जाएगा मुझे. Okay, so that is it. Let's try. Content ही लिखा था I guess वहाँ पे. Content one कर दूँ. And if I hit this request, you can see content भी दिख जाएगा मुझे. अगर मैं content को 0 सेट कर देता तो content नहीं दिखता. But by default it is 0, so it is not recommended कि आप 0 करके लिखो. Just to make the code more readable. So okay guys, so we have wrote get pages कि सब pages return करो, and we have wrote this update add new page. Now we'll be looking at how to update a particular page. हमने अभी new page controller लिखा, get all pages का controller लिखा. So now if you guys have any doubts over here, कुछ भी doubts रहेगा तो आप पूछ सकते हो. Otherwise I suggest कि we move ahead. Export const, we have to update page controller. आप कुछ भी नाम दे सकते हो. एंड आई थिंक अभी तक आपको पूरा कैसा बैकएंड लिखने का वो आइडिया आ चुका है, क्योंकि इधर बस ये चीजें चेंज होगी. ओनली दीज थिंग्स विल बी अपडेटेड, लाइक पेजेस में लाइक आई एम यूजिंग $push over here, so अपडेट में $set यूज होगा. ओनली दीज पर्टिकुलर थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग एंड नथिंग एल्स. सो व्हाट we'll do is, let's not wait and write anything. अभी इधर बैठ के we'll take this try and catch. Perfect. Find catch error. सॉकेट इंस्टेंस हाँ रिस्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा बैकएंड ओनली perfect over here what I did in update page controller अच्छा I took the same code get all pages का I need update pages का okay update I will type because update थोड़ा सा conceptual है I won't copy so what I'm doing is again we'll write try catch update we'll write over here as error फिलहाल के लिए we can console log error try catch we will create a variable name this query just for the sake of it we are not going to use it in long term so if request but body as we saw we passed parameters as action pass करना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे we passed title and content पर अभी मैं एक third parameter update में पास कर रहा हूँ action why is that so I'll give you a brief overview and then we'll start coding update करना है पर क्या update करना है title update करना है exactly कि content update करना है so उसके लिए that's an action कि which action do you have to take so if I check it कि if request dot body dot action जो मैं action body request में पास करूँगा if that is equal to my title then I have to set this query variable to again this is extremely syntactical no logic at all still I will explain you how to understand this stuff title and उसमें जो request dot body dot title मुझे मिला है वो इधर equal to होना चाहिए perfect else exact same thing और अगर टाइटल पे ऑब्वियसली कंटेंट होगा तो विल अंडरस्टैंड वो फ्रंट एंड में हम कैसे हैंडल कर रहे हैं तो कंटेंट में वी हैव टू रिक्वेस्ट बॉडी डॉट कंटेंट जो हम पास करेंगे और मैंने कैच भी किया है एंड दैट्स इट नो एरर्स एट ऑल एवरीथिंग इज वर्किंग ग्रेट दैट वाज नॉट इट अभी तो मैंने बस क्वेरी सेट की कि ये क्वेरी सेट करना है मुझे आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू बिफोर गोइंग एट आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू डॉट डॉलर डॉट क्या होता है पेजेस में जो पेजेस हम पर्टिकुलरली सिलेक्ट करेंगे उसका टाइटल मुझे नया टाइटल नहीं डालना है ओके सो बिफोर आई व्हाट आई डू आई जस्ट पुट दिस कोड एंड देन आई एक्सप्लेन यू ये तो बहुत इजी है समझ ही जाएगा आपको ओके परफेक्ट पेज में ये तो बहुत सिंपल है अपडेट 1 करके MongoDB का वी गेट दैट built in don't have to break our heads around it again the same thing I'm repeating for 100,000 times कि ये फिल्टर करेगा पहला और सेकंड एक्शन लेगा जो भी एक्शन लेना है सो किस पे फिल्टर करना है तो यूआईडी पे फिल्टर करना है रिक्वेस्ट डॉट यूजर आईडी जो मेरे मिडलवेयर से ऑथेंटिकेशन से मुझे हर बार मिल रहा है एंड पेजेस डॉट आईडी पेजेस में से डॉट मींस इन पेजेस वो आईडी का पेज रिटर्न करो मुझे जो आईडी रिक्वेस्ट डॉट पैराम्स डॉट पेज आईडी से मैच कर रहा है now I'll explain you the difference between request dot body dot anything like for example over here request dot body dot content and request dot params dot page id और set मतलब as I explained you push is for adding something new set is for जो है उसमें ही हमको अपडेट करना है तो अगर है उसमें ही मुझे अपडेट करना है तो वो पेजेस में वो वाले आईडी पे अंडरस्कोर आईडी I don't have to put the new title I have to change the existing title I hope you are getting it इसके लिए I use this dollar कि पेजेस में जो आईडी मैंने इधर कैच किया है उसका बस टाइटल अपडेट कर दो नया टाइटल नहीं डालना है डबल टाइटल नहीं डालना है उसको है वो अपडेट करना है टाइटल उसका दैट्स इट एंड अपडेट 1 क्योंकि अपडेट जो है वो अभी लेगेसी कोड है तो हमें अपडेट 1 यूज करना पड़ता है एंड इफ आई हिट कंट्रोल कमांड एस आई थिंक दिस इज वर्किंग परफेक्टली बट ये रिक्वेस्ट डॉट पैराम्स ये क्या होता है तो बेसिकली ये जो रिक्वेस्ट डॉट बॉडी से जो हम पैरामीटर्स लेते हैं वो हम यहाँ पे बॉडी में पास करते हैं बट व्हाट इज पैराम्स इफ आई गो टू राउट there are some parameters if you see अगर आपने देखा रहेगा URL में ही कुछ पैरामीटर्स पास होते हैं so those parameters known as query parameters अपना URL पैरामीटर्स में पास होते हैं वो तो यहाँ पे मैं पेज आईडी पास करूंगा as you can see अब जो मैंने यहाँ पे पेज आईडी पास किया है जो मैं राउट में मेरे पेज आईडी पास करूंगा यहाँ पे that I will be grabbing catching over here request dot params dot page id तो ये जो मेरा नाम है पेज आईडी देखो ये मैंने यहाँ से ये राउट को डायनामिक करने के लिए बस यू हैव टू ऐड दिस colon over there that's it nothing extra at all तो वो क्या करेगा यूजर आईडी तो मेरे को मिल ही रहा है ये मैं एक्सप्लेन कर चुका हूँ पेज आईडी इज समथिंग आई गेट फ्रॉम द यूआरएल एंड दैट्स इट नाउ दिस the my query express function knows where to how to filter and It also knows what to update because ये मैंने dot action लिख कर चुका हूँ मैं. So that's it. That was just about page controller. Now let's try this and let's hope this works. तो मैंने इसमें नहीं, ये just example देने के लिए ऐड किया था. We have to do route dot post. यहाँ से हटेगा. अपडेट, यहाँ पे पेज आईडी जाएगा और यहाँ पे विल बी गेटिंग अपडेट पेज कंट्रोलर जो वहाँ पे ऑटोमेटिकली इंपोर्ट हो चुका है. ऑलराइट, कमांड है, सेव भी होगा. सो अपडेट, अब इधर बोले नहीं पास करो, इधर में आईडी. अभी लेट सपोज मेरे को इसका टाइटल कोडसेल मेंबर चेंज करके कोडसेल मेंबर 1 करना है. तो व्हाट आई विल डू, आई विल टेक दिस. Okay, but I forgot one thing before doing this, validation. But ठीक है, I'll explain you by just passing some random content over here. तो मैंने अपडेट में इसका आईडी पास कर दिया. अब मेरे को इसमें एक्शन पास करना पड़ेगा. एक्शन मुझे कंटेंट अपडेट करना है, नॉट टाइटल. कंटेंट अपडेट करना है. सो कंटेंट आई विल राइट एज टाइटल. तो फिलहाल के लिए टाइटल नहीं पास किया तो भी चलता है, बट फॉर दैट वी हैव टू राइट joy validation. So I am not going to that as of now. Let's first understand update कैसा करते हैं. Multiple things at once नहीं लेते. So if I think this should work. इसको पोस्ट करना पड़ेगा इधर. And if I do this, अच्छा ये नहीं चलेगा क्योंकि मैंने वहाँ पे रिस्पॉन्स नहीं किया कुछ. वो मुझे रिस्पॉन्ड करना चाहिए था, which I did not do. My bad. यहाँ पे वो response dot send लिखना पड़ेगा इधर, क्योंकि दिस इज लाइक अ फंक्शन ना. सो यू हैव टू रिटर्न समथिंग, अदरवाइज वो रिटर्न नहीं करेगा कुछ. So as you can see, always I am rest dot send I am doing only whether I am passing JSON data. जैसे कि यहाँ पे get all pages में I return JSON, जहाँ पे मैंने सब पेजेस रिटर्न किए. This I'll be using in the front end. तो इधर भी मैंने ऐसा पास किया कि updated successfully, डबल एल आता है. ओके फाइन. तो आई थिंक अभी अगर हम करेंगे सो इट विल वर्क. सो एपीआई अपडेट, और उसके लिए आई थिंक मुझे पहले गेट पेजेस करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि मुझे आईडी चाहिए उसका. आई होप दिस शुड वर्क. परफेक्ट. तो आई टेक दिस आईडी ओवर हियर. एम आई मिसिंग समथिंग? नो, आई जस्ट क्रॉस चेक्ड whether I'm missing something. Update and 621214 ये मुझे आईडी पास कर दिया प्रॉपर. हाँ चेक किया. और ये सेंड नहीं, कुछ तो एरर है. रिक्वेस्ट इज नॉट डिफाइंड. ओह माय गॉड, ये अगेन सिली एरर मेरी तरफ से. आई एम एक्सट्रीमली सॉरी फॉर दैट. ये अगर मैं सेंड करूँगा उसको अपडेट सक्सेसफुल रिक्वेस्ट डॉट रिस्पॉन्स, माय बैड. वो मैं पास करना भूल गया था. ठीक है, अभी इफ यू डू गेट पेजेस दैट इज माय गेट रिक्वेस्ट. अच्छा मैंने अपडेट में 0 नहीं डाला था, दैट डिड नॉट गेट अपडेटेड. बट दिस इज हाउ यू राइट द डॉट पैराम्स डॉट पेज आईडी का कोड. जो भी अपडेट करना है वो करना पड़ेगा. नाउ आई थिंक यू गाइज हैव गॉट अ क्लियर आइडिया. नाउ वी विल गो टू जॉय वैलिडेशन, बट उसके पहले वी हैव अ शॉर्ट क्विज बिफोर गोइंग टू जॉय वैलिडेशन. फिर जॉय वैलिडेशन डाल के फिर से मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा कि अपडेट कैसा, लाइक हाउ डू वी अवॉइड पासिंग दोस कंटेंट. ऐसा टाइम पास के लिए कुछ भी जो हमने कंटेंट पास किया था, हाउ टू अवॉइड दैट. बट बिफोर दैट वी हैव अ शॉर्ट क्विज. एंड आई थिंक इफ यू गाइस हैव एनी डाउट्स यू कैन आस्क राइट अवे क्विज के पहले, जब तक कुछ डाउट्स है. कुछ डाउट्स रहेगा तो
जय वो मॉडल्स वाला एक बार फिर से समझा ना. वो 2 फोल्डर में एक जगह हम लोग ने टाइप डाला, दूसरी जगह नहीं डाला.
फाइन. talking about this export default mongoose model, right?
नहीं वो schema में here we put past and object and type explicitly mention किया वो.
Okay. अच्छा, और यहाँ पे नहीं किया वो. अच्छा, so basically as far as how I interpret this, इधर में अगर multiple like exact same thing I can follow in user as well. Node models नहीं open करना है. But if I let's suppose if I don't want to give any default parameters या सिर्फ type ही pass करना है, this is a shorthand for passing the type. और अगर मुझे बहुत कुछ pass करना है, like अभी किस केस में पेज में immutable pass किया, default pass किया, required है कि नहीं, वो सब pass किया. यूजर में आई डिड नॉट हैव टू वरी अबाउट एवरीथिंग, वो सब वरी करने का जरूरत नहीं था, इसलिए आई जस्ट आई डिड दिस डायरेक्टली. सो ये सब सिंटैक्टिकल जो पार्ट है, आई डोंट थिंक इसमें प्रॉब्लम ज्यादा आता है, बिकॉज नाउअडेज यू नो वी कैन गूगल स्टफ एंड वी कैन गेट इट. द मेन पॉइंट इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि हम ये वाला पार्ट ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हैं. ऐसा माइन्यूट थिंग्स जो होती है वो जनरली यू फाइंड इट ऑन गूगल वेरी वेल, तो उसका कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. तो आई थिंक सेटअप हो रहा है क्विज, तब तक वी कैन डू आवर वैलिडेशन. जॉय हम कर सकते हैं. फॉर दैट मैंने लाइक डाउट्स पूछे, बट आई डोंट थिंक यू गाइस हैव एनी डाउट्स. सो लेट्स गो टू वैलिडेशन. वैलिडेशन इज ऐसा बहुत कुछ रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. दिस इज जस्ट टू वैलिडेट जो हमें अपडेट रिक्वेस्ट बॉडी से आ रहा है. वी हैव टू जस्ट वैलिडेट दैट. ओके. So in this file, I will create a new file known as validation.js. And again, let's not write this code. आपको वो फोल्डर में utils में वो कोड मिलेगा, utils में validation.js करके है, and you will find. So उसमें से you have to grab export const update page का कोड. New page के लिए अभी फिलहाल we are not moving ahead on new page because I don't think we have that much amount of time. So export const update page joy.object and we have passed this. Perfect. लेकिन अभी ये बना दिया और अभी इसको यूज भी करना है, राइट. सो आई गो टू माय कंट्रोलर, आई गो टू माय अपडेट पेज कंट्रोलर. इसको अवेट करना पड़ेगा मुझे. अपडेट पेज ऑटो इंपोर्ट हो गया. वैलिडेट async, it was not recommended because joy install करना बाकी है npm से. yes I understand. so well let's do that as well. एक्चुअली उल्टा करना चाहिए था. फर्स्ट आई वुड हैव इंस्टॉल्ड जॉय एंड देन टॉट यू. फिर से क्रैश होने वाला ऑब्वियसली. npm i joy. so joy is the package जो हम ऐसे वैलिडेशंस के लिए यूज करते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल अभी ठीक है, सिंटैक्स तो दिखा दिया मैंने कि आप सेम सिंटैक्स अपने कोड्स में भी जब आप फ्यूचर में लिखोगे यू कैन फॉलो. पर व्हाट डज दिस डू? बेसिक वैलिडेशन सच एज ईमेल ऐड करना हुआ. फॉर एग्जांपल अभी इसको हम ईमेल बोल सकते हैं कि ये ईमेल हो सकता है ऐसा, तो ईमेल करके आई कैन डू दिस. तो ईमेल है तो @ होना चाहिए. तो वैलिडेशन वो जो रिजेक्ट्स है, वी डोंट हैव टू राइट दैट खुद से. लाइक इफ यू गाइस हैव हर्ड अबाउट रिजेक्ट्स से वैलिडेट करते हैं हम चीजें. अगर सुना है तो चैट में कुछ तो डाल दो कि यस सुना है या यस यू नो समथिंग लाइक दैट, ताकि बहुत टाइम हम कर रहे हैं अभी. एंड आई थिंक एक फटीग आया रहेगा अभी तक. इट्स बीन 2 hours.
You have got thumbs up.
थैंक यू, आई नीडेड दोस थम्स अप्स. सो वो जो रिजेक्ट्स लिखते हैं वो काम हमारा कम हो जाता है. सिंटैक्स बहुत सिंपल है. इधर भी एरर आएगा बिकॉज मैंने जॉय इंपोर्ट नहीं किया. import joy from joy. वहां पे भी इंपोर्ट किया. लेट्स सी कुछ एरर आया तो वो सॉल्व कर लेंगे हम. परफेक्ट. मेरा पेस अगर बहुत स्लो लग रहा है या बहुत फास्ट लग रहा है तो वो भी बता दो कि अगर मुझे चेंज करना पड़ेगा. आई थिंक दिस वाज जस्ट अबाउट जॉय वैलिडेशन. इसमें आगे भी एडवांस चीजें होती है सच एज जो जस्ट अ मिनट आई विल शो यू. you can put that save that error इसमें ऐसा. ओके. और अगर ये एरर है, इफ अगर एरर प्रेजेंट है तो आप ऐसा res.send करेंगे वो एरर को. तो वो फ्रंट एंड में सेम एरर डिस्प्ले होगा. That is some advanced stuff. बेसिक के लिए आपको याद रखने का जरूरत नहीं है. You get the point. अवेट जो रिटर्न करता है वो एक ऑब्जेक्ट में स्टोर कर दो और वो एक एरर ऑब्जेक्ट होता है because that is validation, right? वो पैकेज में you get error का ऑब्जेक्ट रिटर्न and you can print that. All right, so I think the quiz is now ready.
Which is the correct way of creating an instance of Express to use its REST features? Is it const app is equal to express bracket, const app is equal to express dot start, const app is equal to express without bracket, and const app express dot listen bracket? Time's up. Everybody has voted, and 5 answers have gone to the first option, which is constant application is equal to express bracket. That's the correct answer. Okay, so have the leaderboard for the first question. And Vinay is leading. Amaze. Okay, question 2. Which function in the middleware helps us to get past it once the required functionality from the middleware is achieved? So check it again. The question one, which function in the middleware helps us to get past it once the required functionality from the middleware is achieved? Once, push, then, or next. Okay, so time's up. And then and next are the 2 options. And 4, sorry, next is the correct option over here. So let's see what's the leaderboard for this question. Okay, so Vinay is still leading, and then we have Gerald now. Okay, we have too many Jay fans over here, I guess. I don't know. Question 3. Okay. Which NPM package do I require to initialize the Firebase app in Node.js? Is it Firebase admin, Node Firebase, Firebase Node, or Fetch Firebase? Which NPM package do I require to initialize the Firebase app in Node.js? Select 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and okay, so Firebase admin is the correct answer, and 4 people have answered correctly. So let's see the leaderboard for this question. Okay, so Vinay has answered the first and he's still leading. Then Godze is now back. Lola, Gerald, and so on. जय को बड़ा खुशी हो रहा है ना अंदर से.
I have my fans. Hussein is a
Hussein passes a parameter in dynamic route like /API/v1/get :page ID. How will he access this parameter in the express function? And this is a tricky one. A rec dot page ID, rec dot. I'm sorry, I can't see it.
params.
Params page ID. So apparently that's the correct answer. You guys have called it correctly. पर दिख नहीं रहा था for some reason. Okay, so Vinay is still leading. Abhi Lola is आगे, then Gerald. Jay is behind. Okay, the last question. I'm supposed to get more points. In the Mongo schema, I don't want a file, a field to change once it is set at the time of creating that particular document. Which properties to use? So in a Mongo schema, I don't want a field to change once it is set at the time of creating that particular document. What property is to be used over here? Immutable properties is the correct answer. So let's see the leaderboard for this. Okay. So Gerald answered fastest, but Vinay has won. So congratulations, Vinay. Kjsce, back over to you.
All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the quiz. Now let's get back to the code. I'm still presuming you guys don't have any doubts as of now. And we have successfully covered 3 routes. Getting all the pages from the backend, we can view them, uh, updating a page and creating a new page. So the MVP of our application, node backend application, is done. So that is something great. Now, next thing we have to do is write a delete function. Okay, so we'll write a delete function. Okay, we have to delete a particular thing, but let's write a specific page wala first, because then only we can understand exactly deleting it. Get specific page. Okay, till now we were getting all the pages, but what if I want to view that particular page? I just want only one page. So for that, again you can see a controller that you can see on that repo, that is get specific page controller. Again, I can't copy paste that because that is something you have to understand. Okay, so I won't forget this time. Passing request and response. So var page ID. Okay, so I'll tell you everything follows from what we did previously. Again, while updating, we pass that ID in param, right? Same thing while getting, also we'll pass the same ID in the URL as well. In the URL only we'll pass the ID and we'll get that. So for that, when I pass the URL and then when I pass that URL to, let's say, that these functions like $push and $set, I can't pass the ID directly. I need to pass that ID as an object ID only. Okay, object ID pass kiya, because as you saw, that was returning as an object ID. So for that, I have to parse that into object ID, and this is the way I do it. From mongoose, I fetch the weight object ID, like take the object ID parameter, and just in normal programming paradigm, the way we parse it, it's basic, like we have to pass that as the parameter to that type. So again, I will pass a request, because again I'm passing that in params, right? So that will be page ID. All right, I took that page ID from my params and I passed it. What next? Now, next thing what I have to do is I just have to, just like this, I use this $set, I use this $push and stuff. So exactly $push. So I just have the same thing which I have to follow, which I will show you in just a minute now. Okay, that's it. As you can see, the reason I copy pasted this part is because again the same thing here, you are using update one, here you are using find, again you are using aggregate over here. So this is actually, you know what thing, this is like you take that data. So this is like take the data from the backend, कि वो सर्वर से लिया मैंने, मेरे को क्या क्या चाहिए, ये these are the filter parameters, किस चीज पे मेरे को filter करना है वो चीज. And project is what do I need to pass. Like I took the data, imagine I took the data, I filtered it जैसा मुझे filter करना है, and then जो required है वो मैंने आगे pass किया, if that makes sense. So this is what this is. Unwind means just follow the basic English. Unwinding something, matching something, that is filtering something out. And project is just like we project something, projections, we project title and content ahead to the front end. I hope I have made this a little easier for you to understand, so that you don't remember these keywords as it is. This is what we said. Okay, so I get that page and I pass that page as a data. And again, okay, so this is a syntax. This is a basic between REST and JSON. You can also pass the status code that is completely optional. So if you want to handle, if you want to check the codes in front end, then you can pass it. Otherwise, it's completely optional to pass, but it's a good practice to pass the status codes over here. Like between the rest.send or rest.json, you just have to pass status and whatever code you have to pass. Okay. So I have put unwind. I'm unwinding pages, page ID. So which page ID am I using? I'm using the page ID which I got from here. I'm extremely sorry. I'm using line number 70 ka page ID, and this request.user ID which I'm getting that from, again, from the middleware which I mentioned. and project. So I need title and I need content, right? And I'm passing that as it is. So I think I'm not missing out on anything. Yes, I'm not missing out on anything. Now let's try. Before that, one thing we have to update is in get specific page, you have to write that as well. Okay, don't write it this way. I'll completely write a new get route. This is a get route. Yeah. So get specific page, and then I will pass the page ID to it, and this will be get specific page, which again, अच्छा गलत आ गया, ये नहीं चाहिए. I wrongly hit that. So I need get specific page. Now I get the proper import, get specific page, which is there. All right, I think we have covered all the part. Hit save, so it gets formatted automatically. Over here I pass this page ID, which I get from params. इस पे question भी था और मैंने hint भी दे रखा था इसका. So if I now if I write gets specific page, if I let's suppose, by the way, over here if you can see, when I validate the object and if I just pass whatever I want, the content is getting updated. I think that should work. I'm not sure. This is because tokens, as I mentioned you, tokens are valid only for a little bit amount of time. So again, I need to log out this. I will clear this screen. I will sign in with Google again. These tokens are not valid after some like 30 minutes. This is for security purposes, so that you don't stay logged in unnecessary for like on same token you don't stay logged in for larger amount of time. That's for security purposes. Now you might ask me ki, why do you have to do this every half an hour? This is because we are passing this token from the backend, but when we write the front end as well, we'll be passing the data from the front end, right? So every time the new request is passed, every time the token is being updated, right? Because we pass the latest token. So over here I remove this token, so this I paste the token over here, and that's it. Hooray, I get this. I get a specific page. This I can handle the front end. I can build a beautiful UI and put that data. So this was to get a specific page. Now I think only delete page remains. Update page we wrote, get all pages we wrote, get specific page also, it's done. New page is done. Delete, nothing new in delete. Delete is absolutely same as what we did. So no point in doing that from scratch, because now you guys are smart and you guys have got a idea of how to delete. So delete page. Controller async. Okay. Again, I will never forget in my life to add this request response. I just put this, grab this code. I'm just doing this to save our time because it's been a long. We are working on the same thing. So this is the delete functionality. Again, so while delete functionality, you can see I pushed the page, right? Just to make your understanding easier, on line number 17, when I was adding the new page, I pushed the page. But consider this as a stack, stack of objects. I put, but now I have to remove. I don't want that page. So what I'll do? I'll just pull. But which page to pull? I have to pull that page in pages, which ID is equal to page ID, and that page ID I get from request.params.page ID parsed as an object ID. If that made sense as a complete sentence. Understand this as a proper human terminology only. I am pulling the page, but from which this I am pulling the page? From that particular document where my UID is equal to rec.user ID that comes from the middleware. From that, I have to pull. So what I have to pull? I have to pull a page. From what? Pages. So I have to pull that page from the pages. On what parameter? Where page ID is equal to ID. I think that was clear enough. So, and I have passed it obviously. When I pass it from params, I have to parse it accordingly. So I think that was our route. Then return page has been deleted. That's it. So if I go to page, router, again we are writing a delete route over here. Let me keep you guys on loop in this. Yeah, so we are writing a push out only, as I mentioned. I was just checking that stuff so that you guys don't get confused ahead. delete, and then I'll be passing page ID. I think delete page controller is what I get as an auto import, and that's it. That is what was required, I think. Yeah. Now let's try. It's crashed. Router is not defined. Oh, that's because it's router. It's not router. Again, it begins. Okay, perfect, cool, great. So let's suppose I want to delete this only Codecell particular member. So I just change this to delete and change this to post. If I send page has been deleted, and now what I want to show you is if I do get what is the name I just done? It was get pages. It was not get all pages. Yeah. Get pages. If I do get over here, if I send, you can see testing and content hi mom is the last object, and the recent one, the Hussein being a Codecell member object, is being deleted completely as I passed that in the delete route. So we did delete route, we did get specific page route. I think this is understood. This was a little bit of conceptual understanding. Then update page controller, get all pages, and new page controller. Now, just as a practice, what I would recommend, not now, anytime when you feel like, as I am updating my validating my data while updating my page, I just want you guys to try the joy validation for new page controller. So over here, as I have wrote in validation.js, I've just wrote for update page. I want you guys to write the exact same thing for this. Just I'm giving an idea to practice. It's upon you whether you have to do, do not have to do. It's all completely up to you. And I think that was it, guys. I have like let me open the. So we handled everything. We tried. We tested all the routes. All routes are working perfectly. I also showed you by fetching the data how tokens work, how MongoDB we have to connect, and everything. If you guys go back to MongoDB class, then you can see, if I go to data, you can see hi mom being the last object. This Hussein was deleted. This gets refreshed automatically. So I think that was it. Now again, if you guys have any questions, you can put that on Discord. And if you guys have understood, then please put a yes or no. I would definitely like to hear your feedback if you guys have understood whatever I've explained. You guys can type in Discord. If not, thumbs up, I.
बहुत सारे.
Thank you. Perfect.
मैं भी
So, thank you. That was it. So guys, we have a quiz now on this part that I taught you right away. So be ready. This quiz is going to be a little interesting. This will teach you a lot. This quiz will teach you a lot. So Tanvi, if we can get quiz on board now. Hello Tanvi.
हाँ 1 मिनट वो कर रही है.
Okay. Also, whoever is here, if they want to know, my screen is still sharing, right? There is an extension known as VS Code Spotify, with the help of which you can play your songs, pause, and change your song right from Spotify. VS Code itself. So that is VS Code Spotify, which you can install. Not sponsored, nothing. I just felt like mentioning that extension.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I've sent the link. Just join. Which of the following MongoDB $key is used to update a particular document? Is it set, update one, or none of the others? 3, 2, 1, and time's up. Okay, so set and update one, and in that set is the correct answer. Let's move on. Leaderboard, we have. Okay, we have Vinay, and then it's Alki by this nice name, जो भी है. And वापस एक जय fan आ गया.
Yeah.
Which of the following MongoDB key is used to delete a particular subpart of a document? Is it delete, pull, remove, or any of the above can be used? Which of the following MongoDB key is used to delete a particular subpart of a document? 3, 2, 1, and there we go. So pull is the correct answer, not delete. So Ajay, do you want to explain why delete is not and pull is the correct
Yeah,
answer?
so as I just explained in the delete route, just pushing and pulling the subpart of documents.
Okay. देखते हैं लीडर बोर्ड वापस. Okay. So Lolly answered fastest. Vinay is still leading. Oopsie. Thanks. Yeah. Cool. Question 3. While passing ID to filter in Mongoose queries, which of the following is the correct way to pass it before sending? Is it there's no need to pass? Is it JSON.passID, mongoose.types.objectID, or any of B or C works? Okay, so time's up again, and let's see the correct answer. Everyone has voted. Okay, so mongoose.types.objectID is the correct answer, and it has the most votes, so good. Okay, so let's see the leaderboard now. Vinay is leading. There's Loli, and then Kjsce answered the fastest. Okay, question 4 of 5. Okay, which of the following functions of the schema is used to get a specific page from a sub-array of pages of a user? Is it aggregate, find one, get one, or none of these? 3, 2, 1, and okay, everyone has voted. And aggregate is the correct answer. Find one and get one are wrong answers. Let's move on to the leaderboard now. Loli and Kjsce answered correctly. Vinay, you answered wrong, yaar. Abhi Loli is the fastest one and leading. Okay. Okay, question 5 and the last one. Which of the following is the correct way to validate a schema in GUI? Is it GUI.object, GUI.validate, GUI.check, or GUI.contains? Everyone is with a bracket, huh? 3, 2, 1, and thumbs up. JOI object is the correct answer. Only one person answered correctly. Jay, it's correct, no? Otherwise, I guess I must have.
Joy.object is correct. If you guys saw the validation, we pass the key value pairs of validations in object.
Perfect. So only Vatsal answered correctly. Amazing.
Oh.
So Vatsal was the fastest and the only one, but Loli is the winner now. So Loli, congratulations. Put in your Insta ID in the chat, no, so that we'll tag you in our story today. Congratulations.
I think that was it, guys. So we learned about the backend of Notion today, and I hope you guys enjoyed. You have all the concepts cleared about tokens, validations, and routes, and controllers and models. That was it. You now have the superpower to go and build APIs in Express and Node, and that's it. That was for today, guys.